Today is the 2nd of September, and this is the second night we're talking the Theragatha. Now we come to the pairs of verses, verse 121 by Uttara. There is no permanent existence, nor are the constituent elements eternal. The elements of existence arise and pass away repeatedly. 122. Knowing this peril, I am not concerned with existence. Being detached from all sensual pleasures, I have gained the annihilation of the asavas. 123. This by Pindola Bharadvaja. This holy life is not lived by fasting. Food does not produce peace for the heart. Seeing that the body subsists upon food, I go searching. 124. They know that this respect and homage in high-born families is truly a bog, or a swamp. A fine dart hard to extract. Honor is hard for a worthless man to give up. So if a person don't really understand the Dhamma, then when he gets honor, he is very happy. But a person on the spiritual path is not bothered about honor or fame. And this holy life is also, you don't live the holy life by fasting. It's unproductive. You need food, but only thing don't have to be attached to food. 125, Valya. A monkey having approached the 5-doored small hut goes round and round from door to door, knocking again and again. 126. Stand still, monkey, do not run, for this is not for you as it was before. You are restrained by wisdom. You will not go far from here. I guess this 5-doored small hut refers to the body. The 5 doors are the 5 senses, 5 sense doors. And we go from one door to another through the seeing, hearing, smelling, taste and touch. 127, Ganga Tiriya. My hut was made of 3 palm leaves on the bank of the Ganges. My bowl was only a funeral pot. My robe a rag from a dust heap. 128. In 2 rainy seasons, I uttered only one word. In the 3rd rainy season, the mass of darkness was torn asunder. 2 rainy seasons, the Pali word is Vasala. Vasa refers to the rainy season. It also refers to the year. So in 2 years, he only uttered one word. But the 3rd year, he attained liberation. He's a very serious monk. Only 3 palm leaves as his hut. A few monks can do this. 129, Ajina. Even if one has the triple knowledge, has left death behind, and is without asavas, ignorant fools despise him as being unknown. 130. But whatever worldly individual obtains food and drink in this world, he is honored by them, even if he is of an evil nature. So, ascetic might be an arahant, but because he is unknown, sometimes people look down on him. 131, Melajina. When I heard the teacher uttering the Dhamma, I was not aware of having any doubt in the omniscient unconquered one. 132, in the caravan leader, the great hero, the best and foremost of charioteers, no doubt exists in me with regard to the road or the path. So he has this yoniso manasikara. When he listened to the Dhamma, he understood. And no more doubts. 133, Radha. Just as rain penetrates a badly thatched house, so desire penetrates an undeveloped mind. 134, just as rain does not penetrate a well-thatched house, so desire does not penetrate a well-developed mind. A well-developed mind is one which is rid of the 5 hindrances, that means has attained at least the first jhana. 135. Surada. My possibility of rebirth is now annihilated. The conqueror's teaching has been lived out. What is called the net has been eliminated. That which leads to renewed existence has been rooted out. 136. I have attained that goal for which I went forth from the home to the homeless state, the annihilation of all fetters. 137. Gotama. At ease sleep the sages who are not bound to women, among whom truly always to be guarded, truth is very hard to find. 138. We have caused your death, sensual pleasure. Now we are not in your debt. Now we go to quenching, where having gone, one does not grieve. 139. Vasava. First he kills himself, afterwards he kills others. He kills himself well dead, as a fowler with a decoy. 140. A Brahmana does not have his color on the outside, for a Brahmana has his color on the inside. He truly is black, in whom are evil deeds. Sujampati. He kills himself, I guess he kills his ego, and then afterwards he kills others, the attachment to others. Once he has killed the self, then all the mind also is killed, and his real color is inside, his real essence you can't see from the outside. 141. Mahachunda. Desire to hear increases hearing. Hearing is an increaser of wisdom. By wisdom one knows the goal. The goal, when known, brings happiness. 142. One should make use of solitary beds and seats. One should practice release from fetters. If one does not gain contentment there, one should dwell in the Sangha with self-guarded, possessed of mindfulness. So this hearing refers to hearing the Dhamma, and then wisdom increases. And if one cannot live the solitary life for some reason, maybe the mind is too disturbed, cannot settle down, or a person is too old, cannot live in the forest alone, then he should stay with the Sangha. 143. Jyoti Dasa. Those people of harsh effort who molest men with an action involving nooses and varying in aims are treated in the same way, for their action does not perish. 144. Whatever action a man does, good or evil, he is the heir of whatever action he does. 145. Hiranya Kani. Days and nights pass by. Life is brought to a halt. The life of mortals is exhausted like the water of small streams. 146. But while doing evil actions, the fool does not understand that afterwards it is bitter for him. Truly his fruit is evil. 147. Soma Mitta. Just as one climbing onto a small plank would sink in the great ocean, so even one who lives a virtuous life sinks if he depends upon an inactive man. Therefore, one should avoid that inactive man or lazy man who is lacking in energy. 148. One should dwell with those clever ones who live apart, the noble, resolute meditators who are continually putting forth energy. So, as before, should not keep company with a fool. 149. Sabbamitta. People are bound to people. People depend on people. People are hurt by people, and people hurt people. 150. What need then has one of people, or those born of people? Go, leaving these people who have hurt many people. So we are attached to relatives and friends. If we want to practice the holy path to end attachment and suffering, we have to leave them. 151. Mahakala. The large swarthy woman like a crow, having broken a thigh bone, and then another, having broken an arm, and then another, having broken a skull like a cur's bowl, is seated, having heaped them together. 152. The fool who, being ignorant, makes a basis for rebirth, comes to pain again and again. Therefore, one who knows should not make a basis for rebirth. May I never lie again with my skull broken. I don't know who is this woman. Maybe she goes to the cemetery and collects the bones. 153. Tissa, with shaven head, wearing his outer robe, obtaining food, drink, clothes, and bed, he gets many enemies. 154. Knowing this fearful peril in honest, a monk should go forth, receiving little gain, without lust, mindful. 155. Kimbila. In the Pachina Vangsa grove, companions of the Sakin clan, having given up no small store of wealth, delighting in whatever comes into their alms bowls. 156. Putting forth energy, resolute, always of strong effort, delight in contentment in the Dhamma, having given up worldly contentment. 157. Nanda. Because of unreasoned thinking, I was addicted to ornament, I was conceited, vain, and afflicted by desire for sensual pleasures. 158. With the aid of the Buddha, skilled in means, kinsman of the sun, I, practicing properly, plucked out my mind for existence. 159. Sirimat. If others praise him and the self is not concentrated, others praise in vain, for the self is not concentrated. 160. If others blame him and the self is well concentrated, others blame in vain, for the self is well concentrated. You find the Arahants are always, they value concentration very much. 161. Uttara. I know the elements of existence. My craving has been completely rooted out. My constituents of enlightenment have been developed. I have gained the annihilation of the asavas. 162. This same I, knowing the elements of existence, having plucked out the ensnarer, having developed the constituents of enlightenment, shall be quenched without asavas. 163. That king was called Panada. This is by Badaji. That king was called Panada, whose pillar, made of gold, was 16 arrow lengths across, in height 1,000-fold. 164. It was 1,000 arrow lengths high, and had 100 ball ornaments. It was covered with banners and made of gold, and 7 times 6,000 musicians danced there. This maybe later you find more verses, and this one you can't understand what's going on. 165. Sobita. Being a wise monk, possessed of mindfulness, putting forth power and energy, in one night I recollected 500 aeons or world cycles. 166. Developing the 4 intense states of mindfulness and the 7 bojjhangas and the 8 factors of the Noble Eightfold Path. In one night, I recollected 500 world cycles. That's a pretty long time. So he took 12 hours to contemplate the past. 167. Valya. What is to be done by one of strong energy? What is to be done by one wishing to gain enlightenment? That I shall do. I shall not fail. See my energy and effort. 168. And do you show me the straight path which plunges into the undying? By sagehood I shall know it, as a stream of Ganges will eventually know the sea. These Arahants, they have supreme willpower, otherwise cannot attain. 169. Vita Soka. I thought, I shall shave my hair. The barber approached, then taking a mirror, I considered my body. 170. My body seemed empty. In my state of mental blindness, the darkness of ignorance disappeared. All top knots have been cut off. There is now no renewed existence. This person must have already attained the 4 jhanas, about to shave his head, he attained enlightenment. 171. Punna Masa, leaving the 5 hindrances in order to attain rest from exertion, taking the Dhamma as a mirror, the seeing and knowing of the self. 172. I considered this whole body inside and out, both inside and out the body and outside the body seem empty. Nandaka. 173. Just as a noble thoroughbred, having stumbled, stands firm again, and making a violent effort again, draws its burden undaunted. 174. So should you consider me as one possessed of insight, a disciple of the fully enlightened one, the Buddha's own thoroughbred son. Then Bharata says, 175, Come Nandaka, let us go into the presence of the preceptor. We shall roar the lion's roar, face to face with the best of the Buddhas. 176. We have now attained the goal for which in compassion for us the sage made us go forth, the annihilation of all fetters. Bharadvaja. 177. Thus the wise roar like lions in a mountain cave, heroes, victorious in battle, having conquered Mara and his elephant. The teacher has been waited on by me. The Dhamma and the Sangha have been honored. I am happy and joyful seeing my son without asavas. So this Nandaka, probably he came to inform Bharata that he attained liberation. And Bharata also had already attained liberation. So Bharata said, come, let us go and see our preceptor and roar our lion's roar. And then I went to the preceptor, probably it says Bharadvaja. And he was very happy. He said, I'm happy and joyful seeing my son without asavas. Kanha Dina. 179. Good men have been served. The teachings have been heard repeatedly. Having heard them, I entered on the straight path which plunges into the undying. 180. Desire for existence is not found again in me, since I have smitten desire for existence. It was not and will not be in me, and is not found in me now. This last part, it was not and will not be in me, and is not found in me now. This we came across in the Samyutta Nikaya. There are a few interpretations for this. But since we already saw in the Samyutta Nikaya, we don't discuss it here. Migasira, 181. Since I went forth in the teaching of the fully enlightened one, in the act of being released, I rose up. I overcame the element of sensual pleasure. 182. Then while Brahma was looking on, my mind was released. My release is unshakable because of the annihilation of all fetters. Sivaka, 183. Little houses are impermanent. Here and there, again and again. I have sought that house builder. Rebirth again and again is painful. 184. You are seen, house builder. You will not build a house again. All your rafters are broken. Your gables are torn asunder. The mind, brought to an end, will blow out in this very existence. What he's saying here a bit is like what the Buddha said. You are seen, house builder. You will not build this house again. Upavana, 185. The Arahant, the welfarer in the world, the sage, is troubled by winds. If there is hot water, to give it to the sage, Brahmin. 186. I wish to bring it to him who is honored by those who are to be honored, revered by those who are to be revered, respected by those who are to be respected. This one is in an earlier sutta we came across, possibly in the Samyutta Nikaya. One night the Buddha had winds, these Buddha and the Arahant disciples. In those days, sometimes they beg for their food, sometimes they get, sometimes they don't get. They are not so fortunate like us nowadays. So because of that, many of the Arahants had this gastric problems, winds and all that. So the Buddha that night, he was troubled with winds. So he asked this monk Upavana, who was his attendant, to go and look for hot water. So this monk went to the house, to the nearest house probably, and there was a Brahmin's house, and he asked the Brahmin for hot water to give to his teacher. Then the Brahmin brought him hot water as well as, I think, molasses or something. Isi Dina, 187. I have seen lay followers, experts in the Dhamma, saying sensual pleasures are impermanent, but they are passionately devoted to jewel earrings because of their regard for children and wives. 188. Truly, they do not know the Dhamma as it really is, even though they say sensual pleasures are impermanent. They have no power to cut their desire. Therefore, they are attached to children, wives, and wealth. This is true of a lot of lay people. They study the Dhamma and then they say they know the Dhamma, but they cannot give up their attachments. It shows that they don't know the Dhamma. 189. Sambula Kachana. The sky rains and the sky thunders, and I dwell alone in a fearful hole. But while I dwell in a fearful hole, I have no fear, no consternation, no excitement. 190. This is my normal state when I am dwelling alone in a fearful hole. I have no fear, no consternation, no excitement. What is this fearful hole? It's probably a cave. I've gone to some cave in Thailand where you go in. Sometimes it goes in very deep. And when it goes in very deep, you dare not go in because you are quite sure inside those deep holes there are big pythons. So some of these caves, you live alone there, it's quite frightening. Anytime these big pythons can come. Just like I was staying in this big cave in Ratchaburi one night, in the middle of the night, 2 or 3 a.m., a big python passed by my side. And you know it's big because it drags his body and stop. Drag the body and stop. So it's fearful. Khuddaka, 191. Whose mind stands like a rock and does not quiver, unattached to lustful things, is not shaken amidst the shaking world. Whence will pain come to him whose mind is developed? 192. My mind stands like a rock and does not quiver, unattached to lustful things. It is not shaken amidst the shaking world. My mind is thus developed. Whence will pain come to me? Sona Potiriya Putta, 193. Night with its garland of lunar mansions is not just for sleeping. This night is for staying awake for one who knows. 194. If an elephant should trample upon me when I had fallen from the shoulder of my elephant in battle, death would be better than that I should live defeated. So certain nights, they're so starry, looks like a garland of lunar mansions. So he says, it's better to die in battle than to live defeated. In other words, put forth energy and willing to die. But then even if you put forth energy, willing to die, you must use wisdom also. You have a good chance of winning, then only you strive on. Nisaba, 195. Giving up the 5 strands of sensual pleasures, delightful in form, pleasing the mind, in faith, having gone forth from the home, one should put an end to pain. 196. I do not long for death, I do not long for life, but I await my time, attentive and mindful. Usaba, 197. Putting over my shoulder a robe the color of mango sprouts, seated on an elephant's neck, I entered a village to beg. 198. Descending from the elephant's shoulder, Then I felt great agitation. I was agitated, then calm. Again the annihilation of the asavas. I don't know whether this is a real elephant. I don't know what's a monk doing on the elephant's shoulder. Kapata Kura, 199. This fellow rag, Kapata Kura, is truly a rag. In a clean jar of the undying, filled to overflowing, a measure of the Dhamma has been put. A place has been made to heap up meditations. 200. Do not nod off to sleep, rag, lest I strike you on the ear. For nodding off in the midst of the Sangha, rag, you have not learned the measure. So he's telling himself he's going to knock himself on the ear if he falls asleep. Kumara Kassapa, 201. Hail to the Buddhas, hail to the Dhamma, hail to the good fortune of our teacher, wherein a disciple will experience such a Dhamma for himself. 202. Through innumerable aeons they have attained individuality. This is their last, this is their final body, connected with the journeying on of birth and death. There is now no renewed existence. Dhammapala, 203. The young monk who applies himself to the Buddha's teaching is indeed awake amidst the sleepers. His life is not in vain. 204. Therefore, a prudent man, remembering the Buddha's teaching, should devote himself to faith, virtue, trust, and the sight of the Dhamma. So this monk is very diligent. When people are asleep, he is still awake. Brahmali, 205. Whose faculties have been quietened, like horses well tamed by a charioteer. What venerable one, rid of pride and without asavas, do even the devas envy. 206. Mine are the faculties which have been quietened, like horses well tamed by a charioteer. Even the devas envy me, venerable, rid of pride, and without asavas. Moggaraja, 207. Moggaraja, of evil complexion but noble in heart, you are always concentrated. There are wintry, cold, dark nights. You are a monk, how will you fare? 208. I have heard that all the Magadhas possess corn. I should lie down with the roof of thatch like others in comfort. Visakha Panchali Putta, 209. One should not suspend others from the Sangha, nor object to them. One should not revile, nor raise one's voice against one who has gone to the far shore. One should not utter praise of oneself in the assemblies, not being conceited, speaking in moderation, having good vows. 210. Quenching is not hard to obtain for him who sees the goal, even though it is very fine and subtle, who is skilled in mind, of humble manner, practicing the virtuous conduct cultivated by the Buddha. Chulaka, 211. The fair-crested peacocks cry out, fair-winged with beautiful blue necks, fair-faced and with beautiful song and fine cry. This great earth is well grassed and well watered. The sky has good clouds. 212. There is the beautiful aspect of a happy man. Meditate upon it. A good man finds it easy to go forth in the teaching of the well-enlightened one. Attain that uttermost unchanging state, most pure, subtle, very hard to see. Anupama, 213. The mind, seeking its own pleasure, erecting its own state, has come. You go only where there is a stake, an executioner's block. 214. I call you witch mind, I call you rogue mind. You have found the teacher who is hard to find. Do not incite me to what is not the goal. So this refers to the time when the monk was not enlightened yet. So the mind was giving him a lot of problem. So he is scolding the mind, witch mind, rogue mind and all that. Vajita, 215. Journeying on for a long time, I have changed from one transition to another, not seeing the noble truths, a blind, ordinary individual. 216. When I was vigilant, the journeyings on were brought to an end. All the transitions were cut out. There is now no renewed existence. Sandita, 217. Beneath the fig tree of green appearance, sprouting, being mindful, I obtained one perception concerning the Buddha. 218. Which perception I obtained 31 aeons ago. By reason of that perception, I have gained the annihilation of the asavas. This perception concerning the Buddha might be the Dhamma he learned 31 aeons ago. And because of that, maybe he remembers the Dhamma he learned. Just some of them, when they struggle, there's no Dhamma in the, maybe at that time, no Dhamma. Or maybe there was the Buddha, but he didn't meet the Buddha, or he didn't learn the Dhamma. Group of 3 verses. Anganika Bharadvaja, 219. Seeking purity by the wrong method, I tended the fire in the wood. Not knowing the path of purity, I perform austerities to gain immortality. 220. This happiness is gained by happiness. See the essential rightness of the Dhamma. The 3 knowledges have been obtained. The Buddha's teaching has been done. 221. Formerly I was a kinsman of Brahma. Now indeed I am a true Brahmana. I possess the triple knowledge, and I have watched and am versed in the sacred knowledge, knowing the Vedas thoroughly. So this monk was formerly a Brahmin, and he was practicing the wrong method, worshipping the fire. Then he says, this happiness is gained by happiness. This happiness of enlightenment or liberation is gained by the happiness of jhana, because only jhana, plus the knowledge of the Dhammas, can bring on enlightenment. Pachaya, 222. 5 days ago I went forth, a learner, not having attained mental perfection. A resolve arose in my mind when I had entered my cell. 223. I shall not eat, I shall not drink, nor shall I go forth from my cell. I shall not even lie down on my side, while the dart of craving is not removed. 224. See my energy and effort as I dwell thus. The 3 knowledges have been obtained. The Buddha's teaching has been done. So looks like this Pachaya, 5 days after he ordained, he attained enlightenment. It's very, very fast. Bakula, 225. Who afterwards wishes to do the things which were to be done before, is deprived of the happy state, and afterwards repents. 226. One should say only what one would do. One should not say what one would not do. Clever men recognize one who talks but does not act. 227. Truly quenching, taught by the fully enlightened one, is very happy, without grief, dustless, a place of rest where pain is brought to an end. This 225, who wishes to do the things that were to be done before. It's like if a person, when he's dying, then he wants to do those things that he should have done earlier. But he's too late, so he repents. Danya 228. If one wishes to live happily, full of longing for the ascetic state, one should not despise the Sangha's robe, nor its food and drink. 229. If one wishes to live happily, full of longing for the ascetic state, one should make use of the Sangha's lodging as a snake, a mouse hole. 230. If one wishes to live happily, full of longing for the ascetic state, one should be satisfied with whatever comes one's way and develop the soul Dhamma. Matanga Putta, 231. This was too cold, too hot, too late in the evening. The opportunities pass by men who with these words have abandoned their work. 232. But he who thinks of cold and hot as being no more than grass, Doing a man's duty, he does not fall short of happiness. 233. With my chest, I thrust aside daba grass and kusa grass and potakila grass and usira and munja grass and bulrushes, devoting myself to seclusion. So this monk, he goes into the forest where there are tall grasses, daba grass, kusa grass, all. And with his chest, he pushes them aside. Kuja Sobita, 234. One of those brilliant speakers, ascetics with great learning, who live at Pataliputta, old Kuja Sobita, stands at the door. 235. One of those brilliant speakers, ascetics with great learning, who live at Pataliputta, stands at the door, an old man blown by the wind. 236. Because of good fighting, good sacrifice, and victory in battle, and especially by the practice of living the holy life, this man prospers in happiness. So it's an old Arahant. Varana, 237. Whoever among men harms other living creatures in this world falls from both this world and the next. 238. But whoever with benevolent mind has pity on all living creatures, such a man produces very much merit. 239. One should train oneself in the well-spoken utterance and in attendance upon ascetics and in solitary retirement and in calming the mind. Pasika, 240. Although I alone of my unbelieving kinsmen in this world had faith and wisdom, standing in the Dhamma and possessed of virtue, it is to my relatives' advantage. 241. I rebuke my kinsmen and from compassion urge them on because of my love for relatives and kinsmen. Having done the service to the monks, 242. Having passed away and died, having attained happiness in the three heavens, my brothers and mother rejoice, realizing their various desires. So he urged his relatives to do good, to practice the Dhamma. So they did service for the monks, maybe constant offering of food to the monks, and having passed away, they were reborn in the heavens, the brothers and the mother. Yasoja, 243. Here is a man with limbs like the knots of the Kala plant, thin, with his veins showing, knowing moderation in food and drink, with undaunted spirit. 244. Tormented by gnats and mosquitoes in the forest, in the great wood, like an elephant in the van of the battle, one should endure there mindful. 245. One monk alone is like Brahma, two together are like two devas, three together are like a village, more than this are like a tumult, an uproar. So this monk, like the Buddha, encourages monks to live alone. That's why he says one monk living alone is like Brahma, so great. So when two of them, then they are lower class already, two devas. And three, it becomes like a village already, busy talking. And more, then it becomes very loud already. Sati Matya, 246. Formerly you had faith, today it is yours no more. What is yours truth only. No bad conduct is mine. 247. For thus I have seen that faith to be impermanent and wavering. Even though people are interested, they become disinterested. So why should a sage waste away on that account? 248. A sage's food is cooked a little here, a little there, in this family or that. I shall wander for my small arms. There is strength in my legs. So maybe he's talking about those devotees. One moment they have faith, another moment they don't have faith. So he say, why bother with them? Just go and wander alone. Upali, 249. Having departed from the world in faith, a novice newly gone forth should associate with good friends who are clean living, not relaxing. 250. Having departed from the world in faith, a novice newly gone forth, a wise monk living in the Sangha, should learn the Vinaya. 251. Having departed from the world in faith, a novice newly gone forth should wander undistracted, skilled in what is proper and not proper. Uttarapala, 252. I was indeed clever, peaceful, able to discern what is good and useful. The 5 strands of sensual pleasures, the bewilderers in the world, caused me to fall. 253. Entered into Mara's sphere, afflicted by the strong dart, was able to free myself from the snares of King Death. 254. I have eliminated all sensual pleasures. All existences have been torn asunder. Journeying on from rebirth to rebirth is completely annihilated. There is now no renewed existence. So like a lot of people, we are tempted by sensual pleasures, but this monk, he was able to bring himself out of it and attain arahanthood. Abhibhuta, 255. Listen, kinsmen or relatives, as many as are assembled here. I shall teach you the Dhamma. Rebirth again and again is painful. 256. Exert yourselves, go forth, devote yourselves to the Buddha's teaching. Knock down the army of death as an elephant knocks down a reed hut. 257. Whoever will dwell vigilant in this Dhamma Vinaya, eliminating journeying on from rebirth to rebirth, will put an end to pain. So this Abhibhuta, he must have already become an arahant, and he's telling his relatives to renounce, to go forth. Gotama, 258. While journeying on, I went to hell. I went to the Peta world again and again. This Peta is a ghost world. In the intolerableness of animal birth, many times I long remained. 259. Existence as a man too was successfully obtained. I went to a heavenly body once or twice. I remained in the fine material and non-material planes, and among the neither percipient nor unpercipient, and among the unpercipient. 260. These existences are well known to be without substance, determined, unstable, always driven on. Knowing this to have its origin in myself, being possessed of mindfulness, I attain peace. So he says, the origin of all these worlds is in ourselves, in our consciousness. Harita, 261. Who afterwards wishes to do the things which were to be done before, he is deprived of the happy state and afterwards repents. 262. One should say only what one would do. One should not say what one would not do. Clever men recognize one who talks but does not act. 263. Truly quenching, taught by the fully enlightened one, is very happy, without grief, dustless, a place of rest where pain is brought to an end. Vimala, 264. Avoiding evil friends, one should associate with the best of individuals. One should stand fast in his exhortation, seeking the unshakable happiness. 265. Just as one climbing onto a small plank would sink in the great ocean, so even one who lives a virtuous life sinks if he depends upon an inactive man or lazy man. Therefore, one should avoid that inactive man who is lacking in energy. 266. One should dwell with those clever ones who live apart, the noble, resolute meditators who are continually putting forth energy. Okay, maybe we stop here for tonight. Tomorrow we go to the group of 4 verses. When the verses become more and more, then you can see more of what the Thera is trying to say. Anything to discuss?
Only let your heart be at verse 197, Usara. This is thought that is putting he wrote, seated on an elephant's neck, the answers leads to back. I just want to reconfirm that monks are allowed to ride on animals' back.
In the Vinaya books, it is stated that monk should not ride in a chariot unless he is sick. So only when it's necessary. So unless this monk was sick, he should not be on the elephants, on the back of an elephant.
Okay. 2 days ago, you mentioned about it's okay to keep some hair, short hair. But at the first place, why the Buddha would like all his disciples to shave off his hair?
The same reason the Buddha wants the monks to shave their hair. It's the same reason he wants the monks to wear the robe. To look different from lay people and to send a message that that monk is walking the spiritual path. So, for example, if any woman is interested in the monk, he sends the message, don't come near. So also when you shave off your hair, then you don't look so attractive. So these are the two main reasons. That's why a lot of women are very scared to shave their hair.
It's about Mahathera recommend people to stay concentrated by using Buddha when they are not doing anything. Is this the same as the recommendation of the Buddha?
Not exactly. When you recollect the Buddha, think of the Buddha, think of the Buddha's qualities and all this. This one is just like chanting a mantra. Just keep your mind focused by just chanting some words. So it does not matter exactly what you chant. You can chant Namo Buddhaya, you can chant one of the paritas, Itipiso, Bhagava, Arahang, or almost anything, just so that your mind does not run. That is the purpose. And in fact, the first meditation taught by the Buddha was similar to this, but he was chanting the 32 parts of the body. So either you chant fast or you chant slow. When you chant slow, it is contemplation of the parts of the body one by one. So to see the loathsomeness of the body. But if you want to keep the mind concentrated, then you chant fast. For example, when you lie down to rest and you don't want to fall asleep, and you keep chanting.
To chant Buddha, we cannot contemplate, right? Because
it depends on whether you are chanting fast or slow.
But contemplate about the quality of the Buddha.
If you chant slow, then you are still able to think of the qualities of the Buddha. But you chant fast, then you cannot. Okay, the three knowledges in the Buddha's teaching refers to the night of enlightenment. When the Buddha was enlightened on that night, The first knowledge was recollection of the past lives. He recollected the past lives. This is the first knowledge. The second one, he used his divine eye or heavenly eye to see beings pass away and take rebirth. Pass away and take rebirth. So he saw the working of karma vipaka. Because of the karma a person creates, the rebirth is determined by the karma that he created. So that is the second knowledge. The third knowledge is destruction of the asavas. He contemplated on the Four Noble Truths, understood the Four Noble Truths and attained enlightenment. So these are the three knowledges of the Buddha.
So far, throughout the sutta, the three knowledges seem to come in the sequence. Is there any case where, it doesn't come in the sequence? For example, one day this thing comes, the next one another one, over a series of days or like that?
The reason why these three knowledges are mentioned often in the suttas is because of these Brahmins. The Brahmins always talk about the three knowledges also. But the three knowledges is different. So that's why it happens quite often. But if a person attains these three knowledges, I guess generally it should be together. Although it's possible that they might be not occur at the same time or the same night. It's possible.
We saw just now from the sutta, one of the Arahant go backwards 500 years, another one 31 years. Does that mean that different Arahant can go as far back as in different length of time?
Oh yes, depending on their psychic power. Different Arahants have different psychic power. Some Arahants even have no psychic power, although they have all the jhanas, like Sariputta. Sariputta has all the 4 rupa jhanas, the 4 arupa jhanas, plus being able to attain a cessation of perception and feeling. And still he has no psychic power, and because he has no desire he has no self, so he has no desire to cultivate psychic power.
So in the case of Sariputta and the other Arahants, the three knowledges seems to be able to tell us that, if an Arahant has seen the three knowledges, yes, including the asavas that he has seen. So he sees the two knowledges first. But the asava, how do you tell that your asava has terminated? As in the case of Sariputta, which he saw, he can actually realize.
That means he just contemplate the Dhamma only. Contemplate the Dhamma, and then he let go of the clinging. Basically, it's the clinging of the self. We just let go and attain arahanthood. So those without psychic power, instead of three knowledges, they only have one knowledge.
Why the state of perception and feeling is not counted as a arupa jhana?
Cessation of perception and feeling is the cessation of the sixth consciousness. So the sixth consciousness has ceased. So it is higher than the rupa and arupa jhanas. It is not a arupa jhana. Arupa jhana, you are still in the world, because if you attain a rupa jhana, you can still be reborn. But if you attain cessation of perception and feeling and you come out of it, you become an arahant. That means you are noble reborn already. Because when a person comes out of the cessation, then he realizes the whole world is just a dream only, just in consciousness. It's not real. So he let go of the self. Then it's just like when you wake up and in the morning, after having a good dream at night. When you wake up in the morning, then you realize the dream. You were so frightened last night when you were having the dream, chased by some ghost or some murderer. You were so excited. Then when you wake up, you find it's only a dream. Why all the fuss? Not real at all. So when you get out of this cessation of perception and feeling, then you realize, what is life? Life is just a dream and it's not real. That's the self. Where's the self in the dream? It's not important, is it? It's not real.
In the case of Buddha, he met his second teacher who taught him all the way from 1 to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that means the teacher do not know the Dhamma. So even when he reached 4 jhana, he come out, he still do not understand. Does that mean that?
Yeah, he does not understand the Dhamma.
Can we say that once a person comes out from Nirodha Samapatti, that means his asava stops. Means there is no mental outflow.
I guess when he comes out of this cessation of perception and feeling, he has to contemplate. He has to contemplate. Then only he realizes. Just like for the Buddha to become enlightened, he has to contemplate on the Four Noble Truths. Then he understands the Four Noble Truths, then he let go and then he attain destruction of the asavas. So in the same way, when a person comes out of cessation, then he contemplates and then he realizes the true nature of life.
Destruction comes afterwards, maybe?
Destruction of the asavas. After the contemplation.
Or after the contemplation,
yeah.
Hands and it attains to cessation.
No, it's not automatic. He's got to contemplate. I think so. I'm not an Arahant yet. Even the Buddhas, although the Buddha said before he was enlightened, he already had a basic understanding of dependent origination. But after the Buddha was enlightened, he wanted to understand thoroughly dependent origination. And he contemplated from 6 p.m. until 6 a.m., 12 hours. Then only he understood really dependent origination. So the knowledge is not automatic one, even for a Buddha, whatever he wants to know. He has to make the effort to contemplate. Then only he will know. It's not automatic. So in the same way, when the person comes out of that cessation, I don't think it's automatic. He must contemplate. Then only he will realize. Okay, shall we stop here? Yeah.
It means to say, we look at how the Buddha contemplated on dependent origination, that those people who advocate that we can attain the Aryahood, even the certain state, by contemplating on the dependent origination, some even to the extent that it is like the only way to go about it. It's so important that when I take this advice, even to a case of time, you need to have our knowledge of the things.
But in the suttas, attaining the Aryan stage, any Aryan stage, the basic requirement is attaining right view. And right view basically means the understanding of the Four Noble Truths. And understanding of the Four Noble Truths comes about either by contemplating the Four Noble Truths itself, or one of a few other ways. One is dependent origination, another is the five aggregates, another is the six sense bases. Because if you understand each one of these to a certain depth, then you are basically, it means that you understand the Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths can be seen in these few things, dependent origination, five aggregates, and six sense bases. And the Buddha mentions in the suttas that these are the important things to contemplate. So it is possible by contemplating dependent origination, but of course you got to be able to really understand it, not just knowing just like some people they just say they can quote the words of the noble Four Noble Truths, but they don't really understand it. Okay, shall we end here?